Okay, we have begun. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, one and all. And the dog has entered the room. So we have standing room only. So hi, I'm Bob Doyle, and welcome to Inspirational Quotes and the Law of Attraction. It's going to be a conversation with me and my guest, Ingrid Renner, who you see probably down somewhere, anyway, on your screen. And I'll tell you all about her in just a moment. So I appreciate the fact that you're here and that you're on time. And we totally invite you to please stay till the end of this, because we're going to have a conversation around quotes and the law of attraction, just as promised. And then at the end, we're going to be taking the questions and comments that you sent through Ingrid's website when you enrolled. So we'll go through all of that, and that's when she's going to walk you through her special process of sort of utilizing the information that we're talking about here, and that's really what we're all here for anyway. But we want to be able to, give you some background and have some, just a backdrop for the information that she is going to share with you. And I will say, I will also be up front, we're doing this obviously via Google Hangout, and both Ingrid and I have been having technical problems. It seems to happen every time I do a Hangout, but I love the idea of the technology. But in any case, sometimes my window just drops. So if either one of us, Ingrid or I, disappear, just hang tight. We'll come right back and we'll continue. Okay, so don't go anywhere. Just bear with us as we play with the fun of the technology. So before I tell you about Ingrid, let me just introduce myself, since I'm sort of hosting this, just in case you and I have not had a conversation before. My name is Bob Doyle, and I'm probably best known as one of the featured teachers from the film The Secret. I've been teaching the law of attraction for about 12 years. Before that, I was into fitness, and I'm a musician and just a creative type, and so I love all things creative. But the law of attraction has been a huge passion of mine because it truly turned my life around 12 years ago or so, and we can talk about that in a little bit. But I've been very passionate about teaching the principles in a way that people can actually utilize them so that it doesn't seem magic or woo-woo and things like that. But when it comes down to it, the law of attraction is really about managing your vibration so that you can attract the things into your life that you want, whether it's people, places, situations, happiness, love, whatever it is. It's about changing sort of the energy so that you're in alignment with those things. And so I'm always looking for ways to help people do that. And everybody's different. Everybody has different backgrounds. Everybody gets lit up by different things. So anything that comes along that I see works for a majority of people or for a large number of people, I like to share. And so today we're going to be talking about how inspirational quotes, something seemingly as sort of like abstract, would actually have a real impact on your ability to attract the life you want. And so that's my background. Let me tell you about Ingrid and why we are having her as the person to talk to about this. She's the co-owner of allfamousquotes.com. That should tell you something. She's always been an avid reader, and she's written, and she loves writing quotes and poems and short stories, and she's been doing this since she was 10 years old. She also loves to cook and travel around the world, and doing that she gains more ideas and photographs for additional inspiration, which we'll be talking about in just a little bit as well. She also has a successful information technology career. And so now this gives her the opportunity to dedicate herself to spreading more inspiration around the world with her writings and her contributions to her quotes website, her newsletter, and her Facebook fan page, which has almost 100,000 fans. Wish mine had almost 100,000 fans. But it doesn't, but hers does. She's also published and released the series of what's called the Most Treasured Quotes book. And hopefully you've already downloaded a piece of that was a part of your gift for registering for the Hangout in the first place, which we'll be going through in a little bit as well. It includes the Most Treasured Quotes of 2013, a quote for every day, the Most Treasured Birthday Quotes, the Most Treasured Thankful Quotes, 365 Most Treasured Inspirational and Motivational Quotes for Business and Life Success, and the Most Treasured Romance and Love Quotes. So they're all categorized. We'll talk about that as well. They're all compiled with carefully hand-picked quotes and inspiring and lovely themed pictures, so you're getting kind of hit on all sensory levels. And we'll learn about all those books a little bit later, and if you're a fan of quotes, you'll definitely want to be here for that. So welcome, after I finally have finished talking. Welcome, Ingrid. It's great to have you here. Trying to switch to you, but it's not working. But are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, good. That's awesome. Thank God somebody. Okay, but I'm not. For whatever reason, my camera isn't working, and I can't switch to you. Although I want to. Okay, so now your camera isn't working. Well, So hopefully we'll resolve this. But I just wanted to welcome you and thank you for taking the time to talk with us about this, because I think this is a really interesting. I've never heard anyone talk about this before, and I think there is this seemingly passion for quotes, and it's one of the most popular things that gets spread around the internet and on Facebook and things like that. Tell us a little bit about your background, aside from what I read in your bio, and despite the fact that we can't actually see you right now. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got interested in quotes in the first place.
Well, one thing is, when I was very young, I just loved quotes. I loved things like literature and reading, and I wrote quotes and poetry and all sorts of inspirational things that made me feel really good.
Hmm.
And I loved it. And unfortunately, I did write a lot of personal journals and books, and I lost them in a tragic way. But I'm not going to go into that now. But I went into information technology because that's another passion of mine, and I got to inspire people in that way as well. And quotes mean a lot to me. When I left my executive career to go back to our home business and do the quotes, one thing that lacked in my mind, Bob, that is maybe not the same for everyone is, I would buy quote books and they would have 3,000 quotes or 2,000 quotes. And not only would they repeat themselves, but at the same time, they had nothing visual for me. It was just quote after quote after quote. And when I found myself doing all famous quotes, which is part of our business, um, I really took it to heart, and I really wanted to get the inspirational pictures for people to help them and visualize positive things in their mind, because it's hard for me especially, and I think for a lot of people, to just visualize something really positive without a picture or some sort of a visual image to go along with a positive message.
Yeah, so let me just kind of jump in and comment on that. So it's kind of like a vision board, because it's vision board principle. You've got the inspirational quote, which means something to you and has an impact on you, but with your books, you've added that other layer of the visual component. And whenever I talk about visualization and vision boards and things like that, I really emphasize the fact that it really needs to create as much of a full-on sensory experience as possible, so that it's really integrated and it's not just a thought kind of rolling around in your head, but that you're truly experiencing it, because that's what really creates the shift energetically.
I truly agree. To me, it is a visual which hits my heart, and then seeing the quote, it just all comes together.
Well, can
And
you
it just makes a huge difference for me.
So talk about the difference that it makes for you. Talk about because obviously you've said you're passionate. Obviously you've got the quote site and the Facebook group and all of those things. You've written all these books. So obviously it's helped you. Can you share a little bit more specifically, even if it's just something subtle in the quality of life that has, as opposed to just like I really love them, but what have they done for you, and what have you heard, if anything, around how they've helped other people?
Well, one thing I've found, Bob, is that, for instance, I have studied the law of attraction for years, and it's always been inside of me, and I've attracted a lot of abundance and a lot of success in my career, and I loved it. But one thing that I noticed is that, when I started doing the positive quotes every single day, along with the picture, it just started to lighten up my heart. I can't explain it, but it just made me feel good every
Mm.
single day. And it was such a positive experience. And I have so many people write to us and tell us how wonderful that is, because you've got a visual and you've got a written, and you can think more deeply about what that really means to you.
Yeah,
And
no,
it hit my heart a lot.
and that's really where it all begins. I mean, the whole manifestation process should be really a heart-based, a heart-focused process instead of all mental. And so when you've got that, now we talked about the pictures and the quotes that you've read. Now the workbook that you created, this free gift that we're going to kind of walk them through a little bit later, like you said, has the written component. And so now you're not only reading and having the visual aspect, but now you're actually writing. Can you talk, just without going into the process, because we're going to do that later, but just talk about just I guess underline that point as to why you chose to do that.
Well, I found that I got gratitude journals from friends, family, etc., and they'd have a beautiful cover, but the inside was blank. And so I tried to write in it every day, but it was really hard. And I found when I started matching pictures that inspired me with quotes, and I put them in a journaling page, it just made it so much easier for me to concentrate on that and go ahead and write what I'm really grateful for every day. Is it the roof over my head? Is it a kiss from my daughter? Just little things. It doesn't have to be a big deal. And that's how it came together for me, because then I could also look back on the book and see the pictures and see what I said. And anytime I was feeling down, it would uplift me. It would
Yeah.
show me the positivity in my life.
Well, and that's, the whole idea of keeping a gratitude list and writing down the things that you're grateful for every day is a long-standing practice for people who are studying the law of attraction, and this is the reason why. And again, so now you've combined. I'm hearing a big echo in the background, just so you know, there, Ingrid. When you combine all these really, really important elements essential for successful visualization and the energetic shift that's required to change your vibration so that you can attract something different. So it's a really, really powerful tool, and I'm excited about walking people through it a little bit later on. Let's talk a little bit about, well, you've categorized these books, and it may seem like such a simple question, but to me it's really kind of huge for people who are wanting to use these quotes in a specific way. Why did you choose to categorize them as opposed to just say, here's 1,000 quotes, here's 1,000 more, here's 1,000 more?
Well, I guess number one, I was incredibly bored with so many of the quote books that I got. I mean, they're just a mess of quotes, and you tell me, well, I'm giving you 3,000 quotes, but 1,000 of them are duplicates. So what's the point? And then it's just quote after quote after quote after quote, and it doesn't make sense to me. And our readers started writing letters to us, and they said, if you could just give us the most incredible quotes from the year, it'd be wonderful. So I started with the most treasured quotes of 2013, and I did the research on Facebook, and I did the research on our emails and our newsletters. And so I found the ones that people found most compelling, and I took it upon my heart. I tell you, it was hard work to find the pictures to go with them. But people loved it. And so, I put them in different categories. And that first book is different than all of them because it goes monthly, and it's got information about, it's 365 quotes, but it's got information about, birth, your zodiac, things like that. And then I went into things like romance and love. Well, romance and love, we found people were very interested in our statistics about teen love quotes, for instance, romance quotes, Valentine's Day quotes, breakup quotes, because, when you break up, it's sad, and you need an inspiration. And those kind of categories in these books help a lot of people. And that's why I've done it that way. And the same thing with gratitude. When you want to have gratitude, you read the thankful quotes, and you're grateful every day for everything, from friendship to a lot of different subjects. And that's the reason that I chose to do that.
Yeah, and so, and again, it all comes back down to people don't read quotes, I don't think, for the most part, with the intention of shifting their energy so they can attract something. I think they read them because it makes them feel good. And like I was saying, the appeal of quotes is really huge. When you get on Facebook, which who doesn't these days, right? Am I
Right.
right? So many people, when you look at the what's passed around and shared and liked, more often than not, if it's not a picture of a puppy doing something adorable, it's going to be an inspirational quote of some kind. And the comments go on and on and on. Love this, sharing, sharing. It's just this. There's just something about these quotes. Is there anything besides just the obvious, I guess, that it makes you feel good, that makes you? Why do you think they're so popular and get passed around so much like that?
Well, I've got to tell you that when I receive emails, which I do every day, and from people, and I realize how deeply it interacts with their life, I cannot tell you how it feels in my heart. It is just incredible. And it's like I said, it's a miracle. Today, I received something that meant something, and I don't know how you knew that. And they share it with their friends, and they share it with their family, and it's so incredible. It's just an incredible feeling, and so I'm very passionate, and it takes a lot of time, I've got to admit, to get the right quotes and the right pictures, but it means so much, and I'm
So,
so grateful.
do you have requests for certain types of quotes? Like you mentioned love and romance, and it's interesting because what stuck out for me when you said that is that's also one of the top questions I get with regards to law of attraction. How can I attract the perfect person, that type of thing. So it's a hot issue, and these inspirational quotes, I think, always they're great about helping people to hold out hope, to be themselves, to do the things that will help them to attract. And then, like you said, on the other side, if it's a breakup, that type of thing, it's almost healing. It's almost like a healing modality to read these types of quotes from people who have either been there, done that, or have something incredibly wise to say about it. What other topics are you finding that are kind of hot topics for quotes?
Yes, we do. And one of the hot topics was Spanish quotes, and I happen to be bilingual, so Spanish quotes speaks to me. But that was one of the hot topics. A lot of people wanted Spanish love quotes because, to say the truth, a lot of people maybe are like English speaking and they're with a Spanish speaking person they love and they want to tell them something in Spanish. Te amo, te quiero, things like that. And they don't know how to do that. And so there's a whole chapter just for that. And it might help even like in marriage quotes, for instance. People say, I go to a marriage, I go to a wedding, I don't know what the heck to say. I'm supposed to say something. and the way that it's structured, you can take a quote, you can take a picture, you can do whatever and use it as a toast. Use it as a happiness of a
Hmm.
couple. And it's just what people love.
So let's talk about this. Another hot topic that I asked about all the time, as you might imagine, is money, finance, business, that type of thing. And you've got one of your books is all about life and success. Talk about what they can expect from that, because I want to get an idea of the types of quotes that are in there, and then I want to comment from a law of attraction point of view as to how those things can be valuable.
Well, and what I can tell you is that I feel that what blocks a lot of people, and I mean, I've been to law of attraction things for zillions of years, and I love it. But I think that sometimes you put the cart before the horse, and you try to get people to vision what should be. Whereas when you have gratitude, that increases your vibration. And I believe if you go to a seminar or a class or any sort of event or whatever it is, and you've got that vibration going already, that positive vibration, and writing quotes does that for you. I can guarantee you. And if you read, for instance, Cybernetics by Maxwell D. Maltz, he says it takes 30 days to do that. Wallace D. Waddles is the same thing. He has an entire chapter on gratitude and why you have to have that. And that is a foundation because it raises your vibration and you're able to connect with the law of attraction and be able to understand more. It is just a foundation of raising your vibrations.
And so this is one of the reasons why you chose gratitude as the basis of the free gift that you gave away, because it is one of the most important things you can do. So this little free gift that I hope people have availed themselves of, because we want to walk through it in a little bit and let them and show them how to actually use it, and then talk about how you're going to support them even beyond this. Like you were just telling me yesterday that you want to do something even more for these folks who have just registered for the webinar,
Yes.
to help them really utilize that. So I'm very excited about sharing that with them, because this is something that they're definitely going to want to take advantage of. Let me just address for a few minutes about, because you know the whole topic of this thing is, and it's what we've been talking about, is law of attraction and inspirational quotes. And I just want to comment from my point of view, since you know I talk a lot about the science of the law of attraction. It's kind of like what I'm known for, and it's a kind of a grounded approach to what's going on. And so I talk a little bit more about the science of things than some others do, because I want people to understand that, you know, as much as we do talk about positive feelings and things that might seem a little airy-fairy or woo-woo or whatever, it's actually very grounded. And things like gratitude, although they get lumped into sort of a, oh, isn't that nice, it's very real and powerful energy, as is all of the energy that's mustered up when you get inspired, when you get truly inspired. You know, that's one of the things that moves people into action. Well, it's one of the if not the greatest thing that moves people into action, is they're inspired to do something, into positive action. When I work with a coaching client, I'm always, what is your vision and why must you do this? There has to be a level of inspiration there. And when you think about it that way, how that energy then moves you toward what you really want from just a scientific point of view, because now you're in alignment with being inspired and what you really truly want, it makes sense that you would want to seek out feelings of inspiration on an ongoing basis, because we get so mired in the everyday stuff and the stress and the bombardment of situation and circumstance that we feel is out of our control, that it's just like finding time to do gratitude lists and stuff. It's a little bit hard, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why people appreciate inspirational quotes so much, as they're browsing around Facebook to just try and distract themselves from what's bothering them. They get on Facebook and they're just bouncing around looking at miscellaneous stuff, but when they find a real inspirational quote, that creates something different. It creates a shift. They get a little bit more motivated and inspired, and you can tell that by the way they comment on it. So it just makes, if you just extrapolate all that and understand that to get where you want to go in your life and to attract the things that you want, you need to have that feeling of inspiration, because that is a real, true, energetic event, that feeling. And the shift that it takes place in you is it's an event that is, you're always communicating with the universe. So the longer you stay inspired, the more you stay inspired, the more you attract things that will inspire you. So think about this.
Yeah, I completely agree. And one of the
back. We see you now. Hooray!
One of the things I do encourage, and it's not really part of the gratitude journal, but I encourage people, when they think about what they're grateful for, and maybe they're not so grateful, maybe they don't have a wonderful house right now, and they'd like to have it better, but be grateful that you have a roof over your head. Be grateful for these things, because that puts that law out to the universe. And then you can start envisioning what you really want. And to me, that helps you start building your vision board. And so let's say I want this other house or this other thing, and I find it on the internet or somewhere on a magazine. It's beautiful. It's my gorgeous beach house, and I love it. And so I take a picture of that, and I put it in the back of the gratitude journal, because that's my vision. And I think that gratitude ends up helping you get to your vision. I think it's hard to get a vision before you have gratitude. Mm-hmm. That's at least the way I work. And that's how I see the gratitude journal even evolving further, because you envision when you're grateful for the few things you have, and you think of more, you start looking for it.
And I think one of the things that's great also about sometimes we get stuck in our stuff so much that it's hard to find things to be grateful for. I mean, even though they're right there, we're surrounded by them. There's
Oh,
way
yeah.
more to be grateful for than there's not. But sometimes when we're stuck, we're stuck. And that's where the power of a great quote can come in, because it puts perspective. It's somebody else outside of your head giving you a perspective shift about gratitude in general and the things in your life that you can be thankful for. And then you can sit down. So if you open up your gratitude journal and you're feeling a little maybe not grateful, well, now you've got a quote or two or three that reconnect you with that sense of gratitude, and now it opens your mind, it opens your heart, and now new things are possible. New things start flowing for you, and you go, you know what? Yes, I'm grateful for this, and it's all right there. So you got the quote, you've got the picture, you've got the journal, you've got all the processes to make that happen, and we'll walk through that here in just a second. Let me ask you this is one of those questions where people, when they ask me questions like this, I go, oh, why did you ask me this? But here we go. Do you have any particular favorite quotes, like that you just have maybe posted around you, or you refer to a lot, or that kind of things that just really strike you as a favorite?
Well, I do have a few, and I'm gonna read them to you
That's
guys.
fine.
If you don't
That's
mind.
great.
And one
And
of
then you
them,
can also share if you don't mind, like why it's a favorite.
I will.
Yeah.
Keep loving your heart. A life without it is like a sunless garden when the flowers are dead, like Khalil Gibran. And to me, really, life without love is a sunless garden. There is no sunshine. I mean, you can go after everything you want in life as far as monetary concerns, but if you don't have love in your heart, you have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it strikes me as really deep in my heart because I feel love and gratitude for so many people, and I just hope other people can be inspired to do the same thing.
Yeah, Khalil Gibran is a great source of quotes, and I want to hear, and that's another question that just occurred to me. People like Rumi is a great source. That people are posted the poet Rumi. Do you have any other favorite authors of quotes? People who just seem to show up on the list time and time again?
Well, there's too many lists, quite frankly.
Okay.
I've got Madeline Bridges, and actually has a quote that's almost like Oprah Winfrey's, which is, "Then give to the world the best that you have, and the best will come back to you." And I even have a quote that's similar to that, because I believe that it's karma. You give the
Mm-hmm.
best, and you get it back. Negativism is not a good thing, and sometimes, Bob, people will be angry with you or say bad things, and I don't believe they're bad people. I think they're good people. It's just they're having a bad day, and so I think you have to just keep giving and receive, and it means a lot to me.
Well, I interrupted you as you were in the middle of your favorite quotes to ask you about authors. So give us a couple more of your favorites and why they're your favorites. And then we want to tell people about how they can get, because I know you've worked out a great a bundle of all of your books so that they could get them all categorized and everything that we've been talking for, plus whatever you had mentioned before about ongoing support for people who had joined the call. So we want to talk about that. But I want to get a couple more of your favorite quotes first.
Okay? Enjoy the little things, because one day you may realize and look back that they were the big things. And if you have children like I do, that really makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
And even parents, they age, they pass away. You take things for granted, and I believe in that quote to the bottom of my heart. It means a lot to me.
It's really interesting because I'm realizing now, again, to a different level, that if you are exposed to quotes like, for example, I'm not generally historically a quote seeker. They show up in my space because I'm on Facebook and that type of thing, and someone will pass me something, or it's in a book or whatever. But I haven't really immersed myself in them. And now, even as we're having this conversation, I'm seeing the value of doing that because it's an easy source of inspiration where you're going, yes, because what I'm getting is that a lot of times we're inspired by quotes that remind us of a truth that we've forgotten. That's something that's already in us, that we already know innately. We're born with it. And when we read the quote, that it's a reminder, it's a wake up of something that's like I had the same. A lot of people had the same reaction when they saw The Secret the first time. They learned quote unquote about the law of attraction for the first time, but a lot of them were going, but you know what? It feels like I was remembering something I already knew but had forgotten. And I feel like that's very similar to the response that people have when they read a quote that really moves them on a deep level. I think the deeper it moves them, the more it probably hits into something of their own core and what's important to them. Would you agree?
I certainly do, and I'm wanting to do one more, even though I know we don't have a heck of a lot of time, but I love this quote, and it's basically by Howard Schultz, but there's been different people that have said the same type of things. But it says, dream more than others think practical. Expect more than others think possible. Care more than others think wise. And wow. Which means believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You are the person. You need to believe in yourself. You know what's going on with yourself. And to me, I get goosebumps when I read that one. It's awesome.
And goosebumps, that's great because now your whole body's involved. So if you can get a physiological response on top of the mental and the emotional response, you've really got an energetic thing happening there. So I like to just keep looping this around to why this is really, it's not just nice and fun and gives you a little emotional lift. It really can impact your life in a serious way. If you made a daily practice of being inspired by quotes, it would be an ongoing shift in your vibration in a positive way, and that's what we want from in the law of attraction. We want to shift from the everyday minutia and the negativity to being in a more positive state, and that would certainly explain why quotes are so popular, why your Facebook fan page has so many people and all of that, because of course people love to bathe themselves in those good feelings, and it just makes a lot of sense. Ingrid, let's talk about just the collection, just real briefly, what the collection of books that you've got and what the deal is and what people can expect from it. And then we're going to get into the questions that people had asked and some of the comments that you had gotten just in general through the website and address those people's concerns. And we will also talk through your process of how to best use this gratitude journal, and we're going to walk them through that process. And then we'll basically let them go. But we want to make sure that they got all this foundation. So let's talk about the bundle of books.
Well, the bundle of books is basically my 3 major books, which I've totally revised. They have between 15 and 16,000 words a piece, so they're totally revised, new format. They've got at least 100 beautiful pictures on each of them, and they're available on the ingridrunner.com website for download. The value of it is about 70% off for about the next 72 hours. It's $29.99 for the 3-book bundle. They're incredibly appealing, very beautiful, and I think it'd be an incredible source of inspiration. And one thing I even do with books like this, which I have done personally, is I'll take a page of something I really like with a picture of the quotes, and I print it on glossy paper, not even laminate it, and I give it to a friend for encouragement or as a birthday card, and they love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic because we pin them up in our office and different places, and it's just something that gives you a lot to think about.
So what do they need to do to take advantage of this particular special? And then I'm going to also talk about what I threw in there so they understand the whole. There's a ton of value in signing up for this webinar. You're getting the gift, and they're getting what you're going to follow up with, and then your books, and then what I've got in the mix. So what do they need to do to take advantage of this?
They need just to go to ingridrunner.com, and the link should be there so that they can buy the bundle of books at 70% off. There's also more free gifts aside from yours, which I'm going to give 4 weeks of the Gratitude Journal, which includes a short lesson each week, plus 7 pages of a quote and a motivational quote and picture to go with it. so that they can practice doing gratitude every single day. And for a whole month, for 30 days, that will be something that's free. Uh, they'll have, I'll do Google Hangouts every week to help people through any process they need to get through that. And that would also be a free session every week. And as well as being available through Ingrid Renner or Ingrid at ingridrenner.com for any questions or help that anyone needs during that period of time.
So basically, you're giving them 4 weeks worth of almost like quote coaching, right, via these hangouts to help them take the material that you're providing to them and then put it into use, and not just have it as something to look at and read around past on Facebook, but actually a tool to help them, better their life, really live into their vision or create their own vision or inspire them and keep them inspired. So I just want to get this straight and make sure that everyone understands. There's the 3-book bundle, which is all the categorized quotes we were talking about. So you've got a you need a love quote, you go to the love book. You need a business or money quote, you go to that book. So you know where you're going. You've also got the 4 weeks after this where you're going to do a weekly hangout and take questions and comments and just kind of continue the discussion with these folks about how to utilize this. That's correct?
Yes.
And of course, we've got the gratitude journal here that we're going to walk through in just a second. And then one of the things that I contributed is a meditation. It's one of the most popular meditations that has been a part of our Wealth Beyond Reason program since its inception 12 years ago. It's called the Experiential Meditation, and it's all about, just like we're talking about quotes, getting into a vibrational alignment with what you truly want, that's what this meditation is about. So it's a nice companion. It allows you to, first of all, easily get into a meditative state, and then it guides you through visualizing what it is that you truly want and experiencing it on all sensory levels so that you're in alignment with it. So it'd be a great thing to go through your gratitude journal or do some of these quotes and then sit down and have one of these meditation sessions. Now you're just putting yourself in a really strong, powerful space, and that's a free gift to you. And there's a button somewhere on this page that you can click and go to and grab that and take that with my compliments. And you're certainly welcome to reach me through my website at boundlesslivingcoaching.com with any questions you have about that. Okay, so let's talk about let's look at a couple of the questions that you got through the website as people signed up for this. Let's address some of these. Anything related to quotes or law of attraction we'll go through, and then we are going to walk through the process of this gratitude journal and show you. You're going to actually see it on your screen. I'm going to walk you through it as Ingrid explains what to do, and we'll come back and wrap things up.
That sounds good. One of the things that was asked by more than one person is, and Bob, you're very good at this, I know, is how does the law of attraction work for you? How do you get it to work for you?
So first of all, you have to understand that it works for everyone. It doesn't just always show up like it's working, because we think we've learned all these law of attraction techniques and we think we're doing them exactly right, and the stuff doesn't show up, and so we think it's not working. But the universe is always 100% responding to our predominant vibration. A lot of our conscious stuff is overpowered by the subconscious stuff. So we can consciously say we want something, but if our subconscious is filled with limiting beliefs and energy around, oh, I can't have that, it's too big, or I don't deserve it, that's the predominant conversation, and the universe is going to respond to that. So you're going to have more of that than evidence of things showing up. So it's a matter of shifting that vibration so that the other way is predominant, and that's one of the great things about these quotes, or anything that brings you back into that good feeling, because sometimes it's difficult just for us to muster up a good feeling just by trying to put our attention on a good memory or something like that, because like I said before, we're in it, and when we're in it, and it's a very internal thing, and sometimes it takes an external thing, like that's why people get coaches, for example, or going out with a friend and having fun, something to change your state, and these quotes are a great way to do that. But how do I get the law of attraction to work is the way that it really works for everybody, but if you're going to use it intentionally, it's all about, you have to have a vision, you know. And what I like to approach the law of attraction not so much as say I want that car or that person or that house, but really what is my life? What's my whole life? What are my relationships? What's the money thing? What am I doing? How am I giving back? How am I being me? How does this vision allow me to be me out in the world and contribute my maximum value? And so many times people take themselves out of it. They just visualize the stuff and don't really even think about their place in it. They may visualize themselves enjoying it, but who are they in that? And the reason that happens is because we're just so trained to come up with a quick fix, or we want something, where we've got a lot of programming, and it's very limited, and a lot of it's just we've got all of our attention in the wrong place. That's why I'm so passionate about the education piece of what the law of attraction is and how it really works, so that people understand why whatever it is they've been doing hasn't seemed to work, because they're generally just leaving out a thing or two or missing something completely about what's really going on inside of them energetically, and sometimes that takes another person or an outside force to come in and reflect that back.
And one of the next questions, and actually it was a few questions, referred to, well, how do I deal with an everyday situation that's negative? How do I deal with this negativity? What do I do when people are negative with me? And one of the things I think, and maybe you don't, but is not everybody's going to like you. and a lot of times, like I said, they don't really mean it. It's just we're having a bad day or whatever. I think you just have to be able to look at the positive things, and you have a lot more experience with that. But what I feel when I look at that, I just really try to look at the positive things in life and banish that negativity.
Yes, and the other thing that and all of that is true. So I don't have a different opinion, but I will add something on top of that. When a person talks about how they're surrounded by negative people, what they're doing is affirming it. And they've got it in their mind that, yeah, man, look, no matter what I do, I'm surrounded by negative people. What can I do about all these negative people? Well, first of all, you can stop telling the universe that you're surrounded by negative people, because when you continually do that, it's just going to show up, and you're going to notice them more. If you changed your internal conversation to something like, wow, how did I get so lucky to be surrounded with all these amazing, powerful, positive people? If you do that enough, that's who you're going to notice. And the other people will just fall out of your whole experience. But if you get caught up in that, the whole thing about surrounded by negativity and all of that, and now you've learned, oh, you shouldn't be around negative people, so now you're even more like this. Oh, no, I can't have any negative people in your life. And all of your attention is on negative people and negativity. And so, of course, you're going to notice and attract more of it. So that's why it's like, wipe that whole thing clean, and who do you want to be surrounded by, instead of who do you not want to be surrounded by? Because if you keep focusing on all of that, that's what you're going to notice and see and attract, as opposed to, well, here's the ideal set of people in my life. These are the relationships I would love, and build them into your vision and really see that and feel it and visualize those people coming in and out of your life, and you will notice less and less of these other people and more of the positive. But right now, honestly, if you've got the idea that you're surrounded by negative people, you're probably missing all the positive people who are walking right in front of your face every day, because they're invisible to you, because you're focused on negative people.
And I really agree with that, and that comes to another question that's posed by a few people in a general format being, well, for instance, I'm in a really bad state, financially or whatever, because this happened to me. How do I get out of this, even though I have lived the law of attraction my whole life? And
Right.
I think what you're saying is you focus on the positive and banish negativity.
Yeah,
And that's
so look,
going to put you in the right state of mind.
negativity is, if you just even remotely look for it, you're going to find it everywhere, because it's just, it's propagated through news and media, and it's, there's a certain amount of that people want out there. It gets people a certain way, but like, there are a couple of key things in there. First of all, I can't give her the answer or him the answer, because there's a conversation that needs to be had. everybody's where they are for a reason. They are in vibrational alignment with it, and we get there in so many different ways that we don't think about. So we could say, and I'm not negating that she is living law of attraction principles or doing her best to use them. However, there is still obviously some attention, some energetic attention in a place that is not serving her. So it's about, through coaching or whatever, it's about having a conversation to find out why that energy, why that attention is going over here. Where did that come from? Where did it start? And then start doing things to eliminate or change that energy so that you can start to see things a different way. It just, and this isn't about casting blame. And that was one of the big lashings that we all got after The Secret, is that people thought that we were blaming them for what they were attracting, and that's not it at all. Most of the time, we're attracting by default. It's complete autopilot. We didn't know what we were doing. It's not about fault. It's about now knowing that things can't come into your experience if you're not in vibrational alignment with them. It's physically, scientifically, energetically impossible. Now we can actually step into power and take responsibility. So, okay, well, I don't know how I did this or why, but I'm committed to changing my energy so that something else can come in, so that these situations that keep showing up over and over and over again can change into another set of situations that show up over and over and over again. But if this keeps happening over and over and over again, it's because we keep putting attention on it, energy on it, and we're emotionally invested in it happening over and over again. Even if we're saying we don't want it to, we're affirming that it is. And while I understand that, a lot of times that seems like, well, what, you're totally living in denial. You're not, that's not the point. It's not about not taking necessary action, to do things that need to be done. But you've got to know where you're going and why you're going there and what's bigger and more inspiring to you, so that you have something that you're moving towards, not just here and fixing old problems, here and fixing old problems. That's how people get stuck and never move forward, and that's why they think the law of attraction isn't working for them, when it's actually working full blast. Their energy isn't in alignment with where they want to go.
I think you're so incredibly right on target with that, and I agree with you fully. In the interest of time, I don't know, we have quite a few more comments and quotes and etc. We can deliver or address that separately with email, etc.
Yeah. I think that's great. I think some follow-up with folks with some of the comments that you got would be a fantastic idea to share, because I would like to get in now to walking through the gratitude journal, and you just walk people through suggested usage of it. And then just remember that all of you who are watching this, or all of you who registered for this, will be hearing from Ingrid on a regular basis to support you through the using of this, and especially if you avail yourself of the bundle special that she's got, going through those things and getting support and actually making this inspiration a part of your everyday life. So let me just switch over now, Ingrid, to the document that everybody should have, and why don't you just guide me through how you'd like them to walk through it. So right now I'm just on the front cover, and I can scroll down to here and just kind of walk us through what's in here.
Okay, and that's really my introductional session of the power of gratitude, and the fact that you have to feel emotion, you have to have determination, and you have to have belief, because that's what sends this powerful message to the universe. You can't just wish. You have to have belief that you are going to achieve and accomplish what it is that you want. And emotions are very, very powerful. Determination is very, very powerful, and determination means action. You don't just sit there and wish for something to happen. You take action. And you have belief in yourself that this universe is going to help you achieve everything you want, because it wants you to be successful.
Yes.
And when you do this appreciating in an emotional way, this way, and you think about it, it's going to give you these huge vibrations that are going to emit out to the universe. And you will get things into your life every day. And I know it because I've done it. And it's amazing. It's like little things come into your life, and you're like, where did this come from? And oh, it's awesome. And people come into your life, and situations come into your life. And it just brings more to you when you get into it. I've got to say one thing, that it is hard sometimes for some people to go ahead and write something. And I'm just saying take 5 minutes a day. But, you know, the pictures are going to help you visualize. The quotes are going to help you visualize. And if you think about it, you know, okay, let's say this one. When you have a dream, you've got to grab it and never let it go. What is your dream? Think about that. Reflect on it. Dream about it. Put it down. I mean, that's what you want. And just emotionalize it in your head. Be alone for 5 minutes. Just write down a few things. And then I think, you know, just little things even. You know, I have a roof over my head. I have kids. I love them. And maybe you want to visualize more. Go ahead and put that behind that as your visualization for what you want, your vision. And so every day, just be grateful.
Yeah, I'm also noticing that, like, you know, one of the other things about quotes is, like, for example, this is Carol Burnett, and for anyone who knows who Carol Burnett is, you know, if you read a quote like this coming from someone who is successful and has done amazing things, there's some credibility there. So it's not just like random Joe Smith off the street said this, but it's somebody who probably lived their life by this and has a life that many people would aspire to. So that, I think that's one of the little extra bonuses of not just words in a row that sound good, but that they were quoted by someone in history or entertainment or somebody that we admire or respect. It just adds another layer to it. I know that if I read something, I go, wow, they said that, and look at their life. It means all that much more to me. So you're saying that, so what they do to go through this thing, you've got it divided up into weeks. So let's talk about how they would do this. So it's week 1. And they come to this page, and now what are they doing?
They go ahead and they write what the date is, because I want them to begin when they're ready. And day 1, you read the quote, you think about it, you think about anything positive it brings to your life, and you write down, even if it's just a few little simple things. You don't have to get complicated, and that's where I think people get hung up. But you know, you can be grateful that I woke up and the sun is shining today, or, you know what, it's raining, but it's watering my garden. I mean, you have to look at the silver cloud in every lining, and you have to be grateful for that, because there is a reason why it's happening to you. And I found that in the beginning, I could only write a few things, but the longer I did it, the more and more it came out, and in fact, one page wasn't enough. It's amazing. But you have to keep at it. You have to keep at it for at least 30 days.
And so that's what you're facilitating here, because we've got day 2 is the next one. It's a different quote. And I would imagine that it'd be interesting to read the quote and, like you said, ponder it, and then maybe even come up with things that you're happy and grateful for related to that quote.
Yes, definitely.
So we have week 1, we have day 1, 2, and 3, and each the assignments are the same. We have week 4, and they have, or I'm sorry, day 4, and so this particular document is the first week, correct?
Yes.
And so you'll be now to get the other weeks. Is that part of the bundle?
Yes, and I will be providing that information so that they can log in and get to that information and download it and write. And I believe writing is more effective than writing on a computer, but you can still do that. You can still write on the computer, but there's something, from what I understand, about the neuroscience of the brain and the physical act of writing that reinforces things a lot better for you as a human being. And so I encourage the handwriting, and I would take these pages and I would put them in a small notebook and write on them, and then you can transfer them somewhere else, and you can read them whenever you need inspiration and hope, and when you're feeling down.
And they'll be getting weeks 2, 3, and 4 as well.
Yes.
And you'll be walking them through all of this process and taking questions and all of that stuff via a weekly Google Hangout. And that's now, let me just make sure, this is for even if they just registered for the webinar.
Exactly.
Okay. And so, and also they also get the meditation that I created just as a result of being a part of this webinar. So just being a part of this webinar has given them access to a lot of great value. But now on top of that, you've got all these books. We've talked about the importance of having quotes and organizing them by topic and having them there and having a lot of them and immersing yourself in them. And you've written these 3 books that are, these are real actual books, correct?
Yes.
Like these are physical books with beautiful pictures and all of that stuff that they can use. And you're in this bundle, they're saving 70% off of what it would normally be.
Yes.
Okay, so awesome. And that's only, but that's only for the next, you said 72 hours, right? 72 hours after this. And so if you're watching this on the replay, the clock is already ticking. Okay, so if you're watching this on the replay, click whatever link is on this page to take you to grab these books, and then just get ready to have some fun with Ingrid over the next month as she walks you through this process and starts to help you integrate this type of daily inspiration into your life. And I bet you never think of quotes the same way again. I know I will not, you know, because I always just thought of them as, oh yeah, that's a nice thing. But once Ingrid and I started talking, I really got in tune with, you know, this is a really powerful tool like gratitude that we could use on a daily basis to lift our vibration, those simple things that can shift us. It's a pattern interrupt sometimes. We could be in our worst, darkest yuck and read the right quote, and it changes everything. I know that's happened for me on more than one occasion just in Facebook, right? But Facebook's like, well, where am I going to find it? It's, you know, it's not really as on demand. It's going to show up in your timeline or whatever. With the books, you can go right to them and you know, refer to them again and again, and as you said, share them in creative ways with other people. So it's a wonderful resource to have. So Ingrid, before we wrap up here, is there anything you'd like to say in closing to the folks who are on the Hangout or watching the replay?
Well, I would like to actually state a quote from Michael Jordan, and it impassions me because I believe, you know, because of his background, and even when I think of Tony Sosa, which is actually from the country I grew up in, and he says, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I have lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game, winning shot, and miss. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed.
Yes.
And see, determination, emotion, he's got it all, and it just again gives me goosebumps. It's like, wow. And he's got that in his heart, and he says, you know, I failed, but so what?
You know, I will piggyback that with my most recent favorite quote, which actually just stumbled across my Facebook news feed, and it was from a 1-minute video of Jim Carrey. You probably saw this commencement speech, but the last line of the thing, he set it up by saying that his father never really did what he wanted to do for a living. He could have been a comedian, but instead he did whatever he did. And he failed. And then he set it up with this, he ended it all with this last line, which unfortunately I'm paraphrasing just a little, but it was in essence said, so you can fail at things that you're not good at or that you don't like. So why not go for the things that you do? And that, of course, is huge. It's my mantra for everybody. It's like, please, please go live your passion. I think if there was one that I just, you know, could be in front of me every day, it would be one like that. And it's not dissimilar to the Michael Jordan quote. It is about persistence and about honoring what's in you and just doing it and doing it no matter what shows up for you. So if you are a person who sometimes feels like you get stopped, or you every now and then you can't find what you're grateful for, or you're just not inspired to take the action in your life that you need to take, then this is an opportunity for you to avail yourself of not just a few great quote books at an amazing price, but also the opportunity to work with someone who sort of has lived in the world of quotes and has unique insight on the world of quotes and can help you get some real impact in your life, some results in your life, have your life actually change as a result of bringing this type of this tool, this inspirational quotes, the wisdom of people who have come before you, to actually make an energetic shift in your body, in your mind, in your life, and change everything. So I want to thank all of you for either being here live or watching this replay. Just remember that the offer for the 70% off of her books is only 72 hours from today, which is whatever today is. I think it's the 19th, right? So yeah, so probably through the weekend. Okay, so watch this. Hopefully you're watching the replay in enough time to be able to take advantage of this. You can reach out to Ingrid with questions of any kind. You can reach out to me through my website, boundlessliving.com. You can reach Ingrid at ingridrenner.com. So please reach out, make the most of the information you learned today. You might want to watch it again and just kind of really let this sink in, that we're not just talking about how cool quotes are, but it's actually something that's really powerful and life-changing if you let it be. So I want to thank you, Ingrid, for taking the time to be with us. I know we had some technical issues, and most of the time we just saw a circle with your face in it, but that's just fine too, and I know you got all prepared and everything for it, but that's the technology. But the content that you shared was great, and as long as people listened, I know the value was received. So thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you, Bob. And I just want to point out one more thing, is that there's links right now on the bottom of the page that they can go to get your free gift as well as mine. And it will take them out of this session, but it's the end of the Hangout, so please go ahead and enjoy. And if anything, just please don't hesitate to contact me.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bob, for everything.
It was my pleasure. It was my pleasure to share this stuff with you. The books are beautiful, and it's going to make a big impact for those who avail themselves of it. So thank all of you for watching, and we will talk again soon.